Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a load of bollocks. Tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about a football management board game. We're going to be talking about 11, the football manager board game, and in this game you will be taking control of a football club. You'll be managing its resources, you'll be signing players, hoping to get enough victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video I'm going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, telling you what we do like, what we don't like. Then we'll come back, we'll tell you whether or not 11 is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel with the like button, all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So 11, how'd you play this game? So we are going to give you a very brief overview of the rules. There's a lot of stuff to keep track of, so it's just going to be a bare bones rules overview, right? In 11, you will be taking control of a football club. You will take the 3 player mats and put them in front of you. You will have the central one, which has got all your resources on it. You will have the one on the left, which contains your stadium and its upgrades. And you've got the one on the right-hand side that deals with matches. You put all the tokens in the right space. You put all the player jerseys on the right-hand player board, corresponding to the basic tactic card that you have been given. And see that you'll start with a few ad boards that you can entice sponsors to give you cash, and you'll start with 2 resources. There's a few types of resources. You've got money, you've got construction, which is the green one, you've got fans, and you've got fitness, right? First thing you'll do is you will draft some directors. You'll take a number of director cards, you'll choose one, put it in front of you and take the bonus if it's got one associated with it, and then you'll pass the director cards on. You'll do this until each player has got 3 directors. So there's some other stuff you're going to do to set up, but to be honest with you, I can't be asked to talk about it because we'll talk about it later on. So this game takes place over a number of phases that are listed as days of the week. You've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For some reason there's no Friday, but then you've got the weekend, which is match day, right? On Monday, you will be dealing with your directors. You'll each draw a director card and you'll read the flavour text. This usually comes in the form of some sort of dilemma or crisis. And you'll roll a die and then you'll look at your directors, and whatever the majority colour is on the director cards, that is what happens. So if you roll a 6, then the chances are you're going to have a majority of red, and then you'll read the red text on the red banner and you will implement it, right? So then you will move on to the days of the week. This is where you get to take actions. You'll get 1 action per day of the week, so that's 3 actions a week, and you've got a variety of actions that you can take. You can hire a youngster or a player, in which case you will choose a player card from the 3 cards on the right hand side of the offer, and you'll pay the cost in euros, and then you will put them into your player area. If you sign a striker, you will change their jersey to a striker, and if you sign a defender, you will have their jersey as a defender. If you sign a youngster, they haven't got a jersey number, so you'll substitute one of the jerseys on your player board for a numberless jersey, right? But you can only have 3 numberless jerseys, right? So be careful what you pick. Next thing you could do is you could sell a player. You'll get 2 euros plus a few extra euros depending on how skillful they are. So you look at the skill and you'll get that number of euros in addition to 2. You can hire some staff. You'll look at the offer and you'll pay the cost, and then you'll put the staff in your staff area and you'll get the bonus if there's one associated with it. You might see the word action on some cards. You'll be able to take actions as an action, and you'll also be able to spend some construction tokens to do a card action outside of your normal actions. You can contract a sponsor. You've got 3 options here. You'll take the card from the right hand 3 on the offer, and then you'll get to give them a shout out, in which case you'll usually get money. You'll get to stick them on an ad board, in which case you'll get the choice between the cash value or the bonus in the box, or you can contract them as a shirt sponsor, in which case you'll put the sponsorship card on the left hand side of your stadium board, and then you'll get both. So you can build stadium infrastructure. You'll choose one of the tiles, you'll pay the cost on the tile, and then you'll stick it on your stadium. You've got ad boards which allow you to deal with more sponsors. You've got stands which give you more fans. If you don't like the result of a die roll, you can spend 2 fans to re-roll the dice. That's always handy. And then you've got stuff that gives you extra fitness, which you need to put players into a game, or they might just give you some extra money. So some of the staff cards allow you to train youngsters or players. If you decide to use that action and you want to train a player, then you will flip their card over and they will either become much better or they will become much worse if they are a veteran, right? But there's always a boon and a bane when you do this. It's just a matter of maybe trying to remember which players are the best and which ones are pretty shitty. Once you get to the weekend, you'll dive into the matches. As part of setup, you will have drawn 6 team cards. You'll read the scout report and that will give you some sort of indication as to what the strengths and weaknesses of the side that you're going to play are, right? It's a bit like Pompey versus the Scummers, yeah? You'll play a tactic card that will determine your formation. You start with one basic tactic card, but there are staff cards that will allow you to get more, right? Give you more variety, whether or not you want to play the tried and tested 4-4-2, or whether you want to go with that really annoying, shitty wing-back system that Gareth Southgate always likes to play, right? So you have to assign a fitness resource to all the players that you want to be in the game. If you ain't got no fitness resources, then you're just going to have to play level 1 players, right? Which probably mean that you're going to end up like Scunthorpe United. Some trained youngsters will give you victory points dependent on whether they just start a game, whether they might score a goal or whatever. So you're going to get some victory points for that. So that's another reason to bring youngsters through your academy, thereby avoiding the pitfalls of Dario Gradi. Once you have chosen your team, you'll remove any injured tokens or any other suspension tokens that are on the players, right? So they sort of come back from a cruciate knee ligament injury and defy physics, basically. And then you resolve any before match actions that are on the players, right? So you have to look carefully for that. So this is probably the most tricky part of the game. You're going to actually resolve the match. You'll see that the pitch is divided into different sections. You've got the left wing, right wing, the midfield, the attacking zone and the defensive zone. And you will match pairs of players in each of these zones, starting with the left wing, going to the right wing, and then to the midfield, then the defence and then the attack, I think. Strikers will score goals if they've got a better strength than the defence, and the defence will block goals if they've got a better defence than the strikers. You've also got goalies that you can get. They'll have a skill level, strength level, and a number of goalkeeper gloves, and it means they can stop that many shots at that strength. And what we like to do to keep track of this, because there is no sort of goalkeeper jersey, just put a die on the goal and then move it down to the lowest pip until it's exhausted, right? If a team scores a goal, you'll move the scoring cube up one, and then once the match is completed, you'll resolve any after the match conditions on the player cards. You'll move the team badges up the league, or whatever. You'll get 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, and you'll get some resources if you put fan tokens on your stands, right? You'll get money for doing that, because more fans equals more dosh, unless you're Man City and you've got a Saudi Arabian owner. You'll roll the dice for match consequences. You'll roll a d6, consult the table whether you win, lose or draw, and that will give you maybe something pretty nasty like injured players, or maybe your top striker gets abducted by aliens. Then you roll the results for the other teams in the league, and they will either go up the league or stay where they are or whatever. Then you'll do a bit of clean up and you'll go again. You will do 6 rounds of this, and after the last match and you've cleaned up all the mess that you made, then you'll do a bit of end game scoring. You'll look at your position on the league table and get a certain number of victory points. For instance, if you finish top of the league, you get 15 points. You'll get victory points from your youngster cards that you trained, yeah? You'll get points for sets of staff cards. So if you've got 2 of each coloured staff cards, that will indicate a certain amount of victory points on the card, right? You'll get points for building your office. I didn't talk about this in the rules overview because it's pretty boring, but basically you can hire David Brent to do your accounting for you. And then you'll lose 1 point for every suspension token on your card. So just be careful in the final game, right, that you've got enough money to pay for all the staff, all the players that you've got, and all of the stadium infrastructure that you have built but never used. And then the player with the most victory points will be the winner of 11. So what do we like about 11? So the first thing that we really like about this game is that it's football, isn't it? It's a football management board game that is very, very playable, right? There's not that many football board games out there. Well, there probably is, but most of them are completely like dog shit. Last one that we played was Dribble Fever, designed by Stefan Feld. And whilst it was kind of okay, it felt like a 5-a-side game and it had more of a cartoony feel. This is a serious football management board game, not without its faults, right? But it's football and we love a bit of footy, and this allows you to sort of semi-experience what it's like to be involved in the day-to-day running of a club, right? And that's got to be applauded, isn't it? Because if you're a football fan like me, this is going to be right out your street. So second thing that we like about this is it's got a fully functioning transfer market, right? Not only can you buy players, you can buy veterans on the cheap. You can get youngsters in and you can train them, bring them through your academy and turn them into star players. And not only that, if you go on the internet and you download the GameFound advanced rules, you can even sell your players to your opponents. This is an absolutely fantastic thing that's been implemented into the game. It's probably by far and away the standout thing. The only bummer is that the players aren't based in reality. So it's like the old Pro Evolution Soccer where you've got like Alan Shearer or maybe Michael Bowen. You know what I mean? So the third thing that we like about 11 is that it's not the person that wins a league that wins the game. It's the player with the most victory points that wins the game. Several occasions when we have played this, a lot of people focus on winning the matches, getting up that league table, beating your opponents, getting into that prized spots. But in doing so, they neglect the day-to-day running of their club. club. They neglect the financial machine that is needed to keep the club going. And as such, they don't have enough money to pay for their upkeep. The staff go on strike, the players get suspended, and their whole operation falls apart, right? So you've got to be looking at all the other aspects. You've got to build up your office, even though it's boring as fuck. You've got to get those staff members in that are going to allow you to augment your business, right? Just because you bought all the best players, you've got the best goalie, doesn't mean you're going to win the game. And who doesn't like a bit of giant killing in the FA Cup, you know what I mean? What don't we like? About 11. So the first thing that we don't like about this is it's a massive table hog, right? This has a bigger footprint than the fucking Yeti. I mean, just look at the player boards, right? Why is there so much unused space on the stadium board, right? That could have been shrunk down into like maybe 2 or 3 columns on a tiny little board, right? And if you're playing this with 4 players, there is no way that you're going to be able to fit all this shit onto a 5x3 table. Or if you've got a smaller table, then forget it, right? You're going to have to play it on the floor. I don't know why they went for the flimsy, horrible player boards where everything flops around and slides off, and why once you put the 3 player boards together, it's like looking at a fucking boogie board. So yeah, they could have shrunk this game down to a more manageable size, right? And as it stands, it's a right pain in the arse. Second thing that we don't like about this game is that there are loads and loads and loads of unclear rules, or maybe more accurately, rules that require further explanation, right? Some geezer has produced an FAQ, an unofficial FAQ, but it's not really in any order. So you're going to be looking through pages and pages and pages of shit to try and find the answer to the question that you want. The rule book is a pain in the bum. It's a big flappy rule book, which we hate with a passion. There's loads of wasted space in here, right? There's just big pictures of these weird people laughing at you because you're holding a big, massive broadsheet newspaper, waiting for it to fall onto the table and not everything flying, right? If someone could go back, rewrite the rule book, make it a little bit more clearer, add in some decent examples, because let's face it, the examples in the book are bloody awful, especially when they're telling you how to play the matches. That just drove me out of the wall. So yeah, it needs a rulebook revision, more clarification, and you know, it's sort of getting par for the course of Portal games, isn't it? Yeah. How many times have they made shocking rulebooks where people end up just burning the game rather than asking enough questions? So the next thing that we don't like about 11 is that the match resolution system is shocking at the end of the day. I didn't have a bloody clue what I was doing when I first dived into this, and I had to watch a load of videos, and even then I didn't really understand what was happening. The main problem with this is you've got the players on one side of the board, and you're going to have to look at the jersey number, look at your players, match them up, so you're holding 3 different bits of information in your brain and trying to match one bit of information with the other 2. And my brain just don't work like that. It struggles to hold figures and numbers in my head. And every time I play this, I look at the sections on the pitch and then I think, hang on a minute, did I do that right? So I've got to go back and look at it again. If you screw up one, you're going to think you screwed up the other, so you're going to have to go back and do it again. And even then, I'm not 100% sure that what I was doing was correct, yeah? So the match day resolution isn't that great. It feels like you are sawing off your toes, right? So the final thing that we don't like about 11 is that this game has random die rolls in it, yeah? You're going to be rolling a die to decide what the directors are going to do. And okay, we can forgive this because you chose the bloody directors, right? But at the end of the game, you are going to be rolling a die to see what the end of game effects are going to be, right? And you could end up with like a double injury through no fault of your own. And that is just unforgivable, right? There's got to be a way to remove that from the game. I've been looking for variants which get rid of this random die roll crap. And I suppose at the end of the day, just don't do it. Just leave that bit out, right? Or come up with something on your own, because you might find at the end of a match, your star striker gets a double injury and is out for 2 games. And that's what's going to cost you the game, right? A level 4 striker is out for the final 2 games through no fault of your own, through the unforgivable mechanic of random die rolls. So to summarise, is 11 worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say yes. Okay, it's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, right? The match resolution system will drive you up the fucking wall, right? It really will. I mean, look, since I've been playing this game, I've lost more follicles than you've had hot dinners, right? If you add to this the fact that it's not really a full season, right? You're going to have 6 games, yeah? You can't really decide a full season on 6 games. There's no options to play a full season, and who would want to, right? Because this game's going to take about 3 hours to play anyway. However, it really is the only option solution that us football nutters have got at the moment, right? There's not really any other football management games that come anywhere near this. All the other ones are complete dog shit, or maybe a little bit too much dog shit. It offers an in-depth football manager experience, and it covers all the major bases of football management, doesn't it? You're going to be able to hire players, you're going to be able to sell them, you're going to be doing up your stadium, you're going to be hiring staff, you're going to be making sure you've got enough money, and I suppose you are going to be picking the players and sending them out onto the pitch in the hope that you can do over the scum. So I suppose if you can forgive the glaring omissions in this game, like the fact that it's not really a football simulator, right? The match resolution is bonkers, fiddly and frustrating, and the fact that there's not really any real player names in here. If you could forgive all that, you will definitely find it still a fun descent into the inane world of the football management circus, right? Just don't get sacked. So there you go, that is 11, the Football Manager board game. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel with the like button, all that YouTube bullshit. See you next time.